Hey Mike, how are we?
Very well, Jack. And how are you?
Yeah, very, very well. Thanks to
This is my podcast voice, just in case you were wondering.
I love the podcast voice, the real deep, dulcet tones of Mike
course,
Pritchett. Well, look, thank you for inviting me to your podcast session, even though it is still an episode of Enablement Uncanned. So thank you for coming on, Mike. Really do appreciate it.
I'm glad to be here and glad we could play with some of my tech at the same time.
It's very, very good. And now we've sorted out the video and everything. It's all good, right? But yeah, thanks for jumping on. And Mike, you and I have known each other now for too long?
Too many years. Too many years.
So I met Mike, for the listeners that are tuning in, I met Mike when you worked for, is it Shootster from the top of my mind? I think it was back in the day.
It was. I worked for and owned Shootster, and we met at a sales conference in London.
We sure did. And you came bounding over to me and thought, hey, I need to meet this guy and talk to him more.
Of course.
But no, Mike, you're a super duper human, let's be honest, even though today is about AI mostly. And you've been a great ambassador in the space, but also you've helped me out personally, so thank you for that. But yeah, Mike is current director of BuzzTrail, which we're definitely going to throw a couple of shameless plugs in a bit later on, no doubt.
I like it. BuzzTrail.ai. Visit now.
Because BuzzTrail is super duper exciting and everything that you're doing, Mike. But yeah, give the listeners a bit of an overview to yourself. I know I've just put you on a pedestal there, but feel free to open that wound slightly.
Nice. Well, if I stay quiet, I get to stay on the pedestal. If I start talking, people will just realise, hang on, what?
Very true.
Who is this Aussie? So who am I? 30-second elevator pitch for me. Aussie, now living in London, been here for the last 3 years. Before that, 5 years in Singapore, and before that, a year here, setting up Shootster. So I believe that was the first time that we met. Since then... I've sold Shootster. So Shootster, for context sake, was a video tech platform. So we built that bootstrapped originally, and then a small amount of investment to take us to 7 countries, 150 employees. We hit 20 million ARR and had 400 of the world's largest brands using our product, which was cool. So done a lot of enterprise sales into Google, Apple, Oracle, SAP, Salesforce, Atlassian, you name it, and gone through that enterprise sales motion, gone through the how do we take a product from being a tech-enabled service kind of thing to being a fully blown SaaS product, and then an AI-enabled SaaS product down the track. And so that was quite a beast. I was glad to see the back of it. By the end of it, that's the reality of being a founder. But then fell over. Laid on a beach for a year or so, contemplating my navel and working out what to do next. Annoyed Jack in that period of time. What are you up to? What are you up to now? And know obviously the Bigtincan crew as well, and David, the founder of that business. So been speaking a lot with him as well. And it's that interesting phase of going, I identified as founder of Shootster. Who am I now? And you go through that kind of soul-searching phase. AI has been a passion of mine for a long time. In fact, way back with the start of Shootster, I was calling my CTO out on it, just saying, how can we be learning from machine learning from the projects we're putting through, so that we have something in the future. I'm going to be honest, completely missed that boat, even though we produced more videos than any other production company in the world. We didn't do the right things. We didn't put the right things in place. We didn't learn from all the projects. We had 1,500 videos a month going through this platform with human editors. We could have trained any machine. And we didn't. So there you go. That was fun. But now, loving the AI space and being able to build avatars and, obviously even just as a individual play with things like VO3. It's a lot of fun.
But the thing is, a lot of the Shootster stuff was before. I mean, AI has always been there, right? Really, in machine learning, we should say, the kind of step before what we now know as AI. But Shootster was kind of before the real boom, I think. So you may have missed the boat, but you haven't now. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no, there was and we caught a boat and we caught a wave. The reality was, when I started in video, I was cutting film together. Literally, I got the film roll here behind me. We were cutting and gluing film, and then we moved from that to VHS to DVD, from DVD to, you know, oh my gosh, what are these DSLR things coming along? And we started creating videos for online. And every other year it came around. It's like, this is the year of video. What do you think is going to be next? And I used to joke, the year of video, you know, it's just going to keep going. And it did keep going, and it was a wave. Now I think that wave's almost kind of dissipated. Not that it's lost intensity, it's almost like a tsunami now that's just low level flowing everywhere, right? Everyone's doing video, everyone's a creator. And now VO3 is opening up ridiculous level of potential to anyone that feels like creating a video. Most of it rubbish, but some of it fun. And there's still a few good creative directors and producers that are using it in a way to create some cool stuff. So it's fun to watch, but it's an industry that I wouldn't want to be a video producer as a profession anymore, personally.
No, absolutely. Well, no, thanks for the intro, and I will reiterate to the listeners that you definitely are going to bring a wealth of knowledge, right? And I think we're going to be going into, and I say that because, you know, we've had a good relationship in the past, Mike, and we've done a lot together, and I really do.
You say that like we're breaking up, Jack. You say we've had a good relationship in the past, but mate, it's coming to an end.
Sorry, I'm going to have to reevaluate my situation and moving forward.
It's not you, it's me.
I've taken some time to think about things, and but no, and I do say that honestly, hand on heart, right? Because you've helped me. We've been through a lot together, and yeah, people should take some really good stuff and some good advice from this next sort of 30 minutes or so. Yeah,
look, if there's anything I can add, I think I've made all the mistakes.
Exactly.
So I've done all the dumb shit, as the song says, the Aussie song says.
I wanted to put it in a nice way rather than saying you just make mistakes all the time. But no, you're right. You're right. And yeah, we're going to be going into, we're going to talk about AI, because AI is fun, and we're going to be talking about the good stuff, the bad stuff, and the downright ugly stuff, and there's a lot of ugly stuff out there. There
is.
You know, a lot of ugly AI, me included. I have done some ugly AI. I thought you looked
pretty good for an AI, Jack. Yeah, I thought you looked pretty good for an AI.
We get there, right? So why don't you kick us off then, Mike? Why don't you kick this off with your boldest, your most uncanned, we like to call it uncanned, take on the situation of AI in sales, or if you want to be edgy here, please do so.
Nice. Look, I think there are so many ways that you can stuff up AI in sales, right? As salespeople, we are generally ambitious, but inherently lazy. Let's be honest. You want to find the fastest way to a sale possible, and any silver bullet you can find, let's go. You know, so what's the next thing that's going to make my job super simple, so I don't have to do anything? It's all automated, and all these sales just flood in, and I just make all this money, and I'm sitting on the beach looking like a rock star, right? Good luck. You know, and that's what a lot of people, you know, they chase down the wrong paths with AI and think AI is just going to automate everything. It's going to do everything. That's fantastic. I don't have to do anything. Well, newsflash, if it does everything, you don't have a job, right? So the reality is, I think at least people buy from people, and they will continue to buy from people. Now, yes, there's a future where agents buy from agents. Get it. Sure. But while we still exist as people and we're still making buying decisions, and there are people on the other side of that table, you want to be as human as possible, and you want to spend as much time as possible on human things with humans, right? So my take on the best use of AI is to use it where you're not dealing with people, right? All the bullcrap, right? The filling out the forms, the CRMs, you know, it drives me nuts when I go into HubSpot and I have to fill in contact first, and then a business second, and then a lead. Is it the lead third? And do you tag that one in that one? And then half an hour later, you know, half an hour later, I'm still putting in a deal. Like that sort of stuff, automate it, get rid of it, get it off your desk, you know, as much as you possibly can. I spoke recently with the founder of Joint Flows, and I personally love that company. I love their product. Just seeing it go from a video call through to, it's all just done and filled out, and it's sending the other person the invite on the other side to join that same, you know, path forward together with all of the information in it pre-populated. It's like, that's how it should be, right? So those sort of little small increments where you can see, and like you said before, I don't give two if it's AI, machine learning, or just good tech. It's not the point. The point is just how do we streamline the workflow to have the information in the right place so we can get on to having human conversations. I just want to be having beers with people, right? I don't want to be... let's be honest. The more beers you have with someone, the more chance you have of landing that deal. Non-alcoholic or alcoholic, I don't care.
No, non-alcoholic, we wouldn't include in that. But no, you bang on. And as far as I'm aware, I've not seen an AI Mike Pritchett go to the pub and sit down with an AI Jack Naish and have a beer. I've not seen it yet.
This is true. And when it happens, it'll be a sad day.
It would be a very, very sad day. And they'd probably
you're sitting at the pub, you look across, you're like, was that a bot? Really?
And do you know what? They'd get more done. I imagine they'd be a little bit more productive as well. But no, you're spot on, right? And this goes back to a lot of the topics that I've raised in the past. And shout out to the Revenue Enablement Society and the Sales Enablement Collective, because you and I were there last a couple of weeks back now. Mm-hmm. And I talked to everyone about this, and there is science behind it. There is science behind how you should utilize AI for the mundane, boring tasks, because your brain can only do a certain amount of mundane things.
Absolutely,
and I think
especially if you're like you and I, and most salespeople, to be honest, we're on the spectrum, right? You're ADHD. You've got no interest whatsoever in sitting in front of a spreadsheet. If you did, you'd become an accountant, right?
Exactly.
And so I'll leave that to accountants. They can do that. They can sit in front of spreadsheets all day long. For me, I want to automate the entire process.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's Elon Musk or someone else. I can't remember. It might be Elon Musk, but he was talking about how many thoughts that you process in a day, and there is a maximum amount of thoughts that you process a day, right?
That's why my wife thinks I'm stupid, because by the end of the day, it's just conversations of,
But if you can utilize AI to handle,
your
50,
wife?
40, 30, or your wife, yeah. That would be good. That would be amazing. Or some of those thoughts, then you're gonna then free up the time to, like you said, people buy from people, right? And actually spend with the humans.
Completely agree. And that cognitive function really does die off. And the reality is, if you're sitting on a call and you're thinking, hang on, did I fill in that form correctly? Or I've got to write down what they said in this point so that I can actually make sure the CRMs, because my boss told me it needs to be filled out a particular way. You're gone. The deal's done, right? No, exactly. Whereas if you've got clear head and you're just having a conversation and you spend most of the time joking around about things in the background of their call or your call, and I think we spoke about the fact that I think Gong did this study that statistically your chances of landing a sale if you swear on the call goes up considerably. And if they swear back, not at you, it's different, Jack. You're not supposed to get them to swear at you. With you, then you've got a lot higher chance. And that's something AI is not doing.
No, unless you ask it to, maybe.
Well, yeah, possibly.
But I think I want to say it's 8x, and I think I know your study you're talking about, because we've spoken about that before. Or maybe that's texting, but it's definitely a lot higher. It's considerably higher if you swear on the call with a customer, or they get them to swear back, I should say, because it immediately lowers your boundaries, right? And until we get to the day where two AI bots are cussing at each other,
swearing at each other,
it's going to be very, very interesting.
It'll be an Irish and an Australian bot that'll get there first.
It most certainly will be, yeah. So we're kind of drifting into what looks good, right? And we talk about this on a daily basis, and I use it more than I ever thought I was going to. I'll be honest, right? Obviously, I used it to prep for this as one example, that maybe we shove that into.
Well, I will call you out on that one, and there's an interesting one. So for the listeners, Jack sends me a very well, I've got it here, uncanned episode with Mike Pritchett, name spelt correctly, all beautifully formatted, and little emojis in all the spots that ChatGPT would put them. Because I know you'd put a picture of a headphones next to intro. And then the podcast branding, the episode, the whole thing, right? Now, I'm going to be brutally honest. I didn't read it, right? Because I looked at it, I was like, that's a lot of words. They're not Jack's words. I skim read at top level and kind of went, yeah, cool. Yep, got it. AI stuff, and GPT did stuff, and that's cool, And it's interesting because if you sent that to me 2 years ago, I would have been, even a year ago maybe, my mind would have been blown. I would have thought, man, Jack is just such he must have a producer on this. This looks really important. And to be fair, I have been on podcasts with people like Mark Boris in Australia they've got producers and teams, and they sent me stuff like this before their podcast. And I was I literally thought, I've got to take this seriously. They're taking this very seriously. Someone's put a lot of time into researching me, into the topic and all this sort of stuff. Now we receive stuff and go, blah.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So how do we get, as salespeople, how do we get past that and not just deliver ChatGPT, but deliver something that people are actually going to go, this feels like you put in an effort and I should care.
Yeah, and you're right. And you know what? Part of me sending that to you was a bit of a joke anyway, as you know. I knew you weren't going to read it, which is why I thought, you know what? It's only going to take me 20 odd seconds to do it, so I'm going to send it anyway.
Exactly. You got the word fruit salad and off you went.
Exactly that. And I know you enough not to have to script a podcast, right?
It's true. Can't script this shit.
No, exactly. But yeah, look, there's a lot of good examples, and I'm sure you've come across some good examples, but it is using it in the right way. You know, you mentioned Gong, you mentioned things like that, and actually, I mean, I use it to summarize my calls, right? Summarizing the calls is probably the best thing that you can use it for. And actually, so you can actually spend time with the person you speak to, right? So you're on a discovery call, you're on a demo, and you are 100% focused on that customer because you haven't got to scribble your notes down. The amount of notepads I've still got in my drawer down here that are filled up with crap, like doodles, scribbles, that I have read I've never read, right? I've written them down once and I've never ever gone back to them. Yeah. Now you haven't got to worry about that. I don't worry about that because I can now whack all of my summary notes into the same place. And when I'm next speaking to that person, it just summarizes exactly where we are, what the next steps are, and Bob's your uncle. And that is, for me, one of the best things you can do with it.
You're spot on. And I think the as you said, cognitive function before of so many calls, so many conversations, where's that lead up to, et cetera, having the suggestions of here's your next step, here's your next step, here's your next step is absolutely gold. I think having a tool that you can go back and forward with the client and they can also be aligned with that, I think is gold. I believe an area of AI in sales that can also help, obviously, is BuzzTrail. There we are, there's the plug. But not in the way most people think. So BuzzTrail's AI voice enabled and video avatars. Everyone goes, let's cold call the world, right?
Yeah.
Can I cold call on my list? No, I don't think it's a good move. Yes, you can. Legally, not cold call the world. You can warm call people on the list that are already an opt-in for a call. And that's great. If you've got a pile of leads sitting there, as we all do, that you just haven't spoken to in over a year and you're never going to get around to calling them because you've got warmer leads that you're following up and you're too busy with anyway, great. Get it to call them because at least you're going to unearth something, right? Even if it's just like a survey to opt them out, opt them in, see if they want to call back from you or anything like that, great. Use it for that and you'll drum up a lot of interest, right? As you should always do, is just stir up the mud and see what's there. But not for straight up cold calling, because same things. I think it's humans buy from humans. And how can you get your time spent on the most warm leads rather than the cold ones sitting at the back of the pile?
It's the pre-qualification, and what you're saying there, it reminds me of I don't know if you're on the same table as me. It wasn't the last event we were at, it was the one prior to that. I was on a round table with a lot of marketing heads, and they were talking about webinars, right? And I think I mentioned this to you, is on a standard webinar, you might get 60, 70, 80, 100 people come to that webinar, 100 signups. 40% of those are internal, right? They're your colleagues because they want to rip it out of you. They want to text you and try and put you off while you're on a webinar. All those kind of things. Or they can genuinely there to be supportive. The other 40%, is rubbish. And there might be 20% in there, 10, 20% in there that is actually genuinely interested, or they're current customers that you're looking to cross-sell, or you're looking to multi-thread, or whatever it may be. For me, that there is the prime reason of using something like a BuzzTrail, or others are available. I don't know if they are.
No, there aren't.
Available. No, there aren't. Using like a BuzzTrail that can actually filter through those. It's not low-hanging fruit, probably isn't the right term, but filter through the crap to actually get to something a lot quicker, because ultimately they were saying at this roundtable that takes hours. If you're following up with every single lead and the majority are just rubbish.
Yeah. Yeah. And same for inbound as well. So if you've got a lot of inbound, I was speaking to a potential client the other day who has 10,000 new signups a month,
Wow.
right? Like happy days, good problem to have. But for them, they don't get the chance to speak to most of them. They just sign up and they use X, Y, Z product or buy a small amount of stuff and leave, and that's it. And they want to have a conversation with them. There's no way in hell they're going to put on an entire team to call each one of them. But to have an avatar call them straight away, have a quick conversation. What are you here for? Can we help you out? Would you like to speak to someone? What's your situation? And put them into a database saying, okay, they're actually somebody that's going to be buying a lot in the future, or they're just a one-off purchase. Okay, great. They can put all that into, and that's not SaaS. That's an actual, old world business that sells product and has to service that product. So it's an interesting space, and I think the inbound volume game is a no-brainer. The outbound for just, hey, we've been in business for 5 years and I've got a whole bunch of leads sitting there from last year way back to 5 years ago. Love to touch base with them quick. Give them a call with AI. Nice and simple, just asking a question. I find when people start to have a conversation with good AI, which I would argue 99% of the population has never spoken to a good AI avatar. They're speaking to either rubbish ones or PBXs or robocalls that are like, press 1 for this, or hi, I would like you. It's not that anymore, right? And we're setting one up for Virgin Australia at the moment that they're frequent flyers. They get 4,000 calls sign-ups a month. They don't have enough reps to call them back. So an instant callback when you sign up. What are your needs? What are you after? It's gold.
Yeah, because it's filtering out, it's sieving out the rubbish and actually allowing you to speak to the ones that matter most, right?
Yeah.
Most bang on. Have you ever had, what's the, taking the Virgin example, has there ever been any backlash to actually them using it, or customers hearing from an AI? What's the kind of feeling that they're giving, the end user, I mean? So they get a phone call back from Virgin, let's say, and they can tell it's AI. You can and you can't, and we've heard of scams of people not being able to tell it's AI, and it's possible, right? But in that B2C world, what feedback have you had, or have you seen them say? I mean, how's it been portrayed?
So I think the very first thing to say is we always call it out, right?
Yeah.
Like I've got no interest in, we got back to people buy from people.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely always call it out. And it's so funny when people try it, they go, ooh, I could kind of tell in this second part that, they seemed like they might be AI. So that's not the point. Call it out every time. Hi, I'm an AI assistant calling from X.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm here to help you with X. I'm actually AI, but I'd like to see if I could help you with Y. Whatever it is. And that gets rid of all of that. Oh, hang on, this doesn't sound quite right, or something's off. And it also means if it does go off track, people are like, well, clearly this is just AI and it's gone off track. Fine. Nothing's perfect. AI definitely isn't perfect. People aren't perfect. But people buy from people, and therefore trust is everything, right? So if you start calling people and pretending you're real when you're not, that's rubbish, right?
Yeah, true.
The answer to the question is, how quickly are you solving a problem for that client? Right. And when I called British Gas and spent 2.5 hours on hold on Monday, I wanted to tear someone's head off, and I would have absolutely taken AI all day, every day, because I just wanted an answer to my question.
Yeah.
But so my reaction to that was like, tear someone's head off. Have I had anyone want to tear anyone's head off over getting a call from AI? No. Have we had people hang up on it? Sure. But it's not a large percentage. And if they want to hang up, they can. But like I said, it's normally about warm. It's normally about, hey, I've actually had an engagement with this company for one reason or other. I've been interested in something, or I've just signed up for something. Therefore, a quick call to get answers and be able to put in the right place, or book a time in a demo, or even get a warm handoff to a real human in the team. Gold.
Yes, I guess this kind of bleeds into some of those bad experiences. You said that 99%, right? 99% of the public have never spoken to a good AI, and that's probably believable. It's likely believable.
It's not scientifically proven, by the way. That's a number I completely pulled out.
77% of stats are made up on the spot. You know that?
Exactly, including that one.
So, including that one. I change the number every time I say that.
I do the same. I love a good dad's joke in the morning.
Oh, good old dad's joke. But yeah, it kind of moves into the bad, right? if you are, and everyone's going to be doing it. Everyone has to be doing it, and this is one of the biggest things: is that leadership, particularly in organizations, whether it's, and you are the leader, but other organizations, large enterprises that say, okay, look, we need to do AI. The problem is that they then push it or expect people to push it without a real strategy or without, a plan behind it. And it is like icing a cake without putting it in the oven first sometimes. You can't, and I made a post about this, you can't polish a turd. You can't.
But you can pour glitter on it.
You can pour glitter on it, but it's still a glittery turd, right? And, like, for example, and the example I use for that is we use at Bigtincan, we can, as you know, not shameless plug, I promise.
No.
But you can create avatars to present slide decks, right? Or sending out a proposal to someone, I create myself as an avatar and send that out. Now, what I realized the other week is, and this is no fault of the AI, this is me, I have a twitch in my eye that I've only just noticed, and you can't necessarily, I'm really concentrating not to do it now, but there's a twitch in my left eye, and it closes when I'm presenting and I'm really in the flow. Now, AI really exaggerated that, and you can see my eye just closing, and I really picked up on that. And that's not the AI's fault. It's polishing what was a turdy performance in a sense that my eye kept shutting, right? So I redid the performance, and then it was absolutely fine. So and I'm not saying that's bad AI, but you have to have the foundations in place before you polish it, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny you've had that experience. I cloned my voice a while back, and I thought, okay, well, I'll just go and do the thing. It's 40 minutes of recording, like a proper clone, not just a quick one. And if you've ever spoken, like I'm a sales guy, I can speak a bit, but 40 minutes talking to myself, it's not easy, right? No. And so after a while I was, and I like motorbikes. So let's talk about motorbikes. They've got two wheels. Two wheels is good. That's good fun. Gets you leaning around. Yeah, and I'm just talking complete nonsense. And I was so slow and dry. And then when I listened to my clone back later, it's trying to sell something, saying, "Well, you really should just sign up for this product. It's not bad." It copied me verbatim.
It's polishing your performance, right? And and this is where you start going into you move from using AI for the really important things that you can use it for, to moving into, okay, we can use AI, even though it's good, in a bad way.
Yeah.
And it's about really ironing that out and understanding where we can sort of fill those gaps.
And so one of the litmus tests for me is, would I want to receive this? And I look at that with every sales material, whether it's a postcard in the mail or it's a flyer sitting on my seat at a conference. Am I getting in their way? Am I helpful? Would I want to receive this? Right? Going back to the National Sales Conference, that beautiful chocolate that was sitting on the table, I wanted to receive that. That was great, and I did. And that's something that. Go and do the same for others, because I think you want to receive that. Cool. Well, lesson learned. Do you want to speak to an AI avatar? Totally depends, right? If I'm jumping on to have a look at a product demo and, I've got the option between, I can't call them, I can't contact them. Oh, I can book a demo in 3 days' time. Yeah. Or I can just click on Avatar Demo now, and it can walk me through the entire product and show me what we're doing, as you'll be able to do shortly with BuzzTrail. Well, yeah, I'll sign that up. Shameless plug.
Another shameless plug.
That's where and this is why I'm excited about the future of that and where we're taking it, because that is something that I personally wish I had in my business at Shootster, and it's something that I absolutely want when I want to go have a look at a product. And same with when there's an issue in a product, right? If I've got a SaaS platform and I just want to know where, is it file menu this, ChatGPT said this, some YouTuber said that, and it took me forever to find it. I can't find the information, or I can just jump on, open up a product window that has a virtual avatar there that guides me through it. Simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And you've already shown me an example of that today, or at least what I saw a little bit earlier of AI avatars. And I mean, we have got, we've been practicing with that. We do a lot of that with our role play function, right? You can now do a role play with and practice how you're delivering a pitch to an avatar, which is mind blowing, right? That kind of thing is really in the last 6 months taken off. what you were showing me earlier with that avatar that was actually checking out your background and understanding that you were married and all this kind of stuff. That's next level.
Freaking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff. It's next level, and it reads you as a human, knows what you're doing, could see within just at the start of the call, my finger sort of came up like my hand came up like this. You could see my ring finger, and then I asked him, "Can you see me?" He was like, "Yeah." And I noticed the ring on your finger. I noticed the helmets in the background and the film reel, and not just that. He didn't go, well, here's observationally what's happening. You've got a square box that looks like a bookshelf. No, he actually said, hey, tell me more about the film reel on the back. Are you into film? And that, to me, is where we're getting to a point where I feel having a conversation with an avatar is sometimes more conversational and more enjoyable than a lot of humans, because what's hilarious, though, is I did that recording yesterday, and I jumped on 2 meetings concurrently straight after that call, and they were both guys that were into dirt biking, and they both started talking to me about the helmets in the background on the shelves, and I just had to laugh, and I had to tell them it's so funny. I just had this call with an avatar that did the same thing, and then questioned the film reel and went into it. So yeah, it's the right thing to do when you're on a call as a salesperson, is be observational, pick something up, and lean into something personal.
Oh, for sure, because you're attaching that emotion to that individual or whatever they're buying, right? It's the same.
Yeah.
I've done it before with a good example I know is that I spoke to a VP over in North America that had a Philadelphia Eagles helmet on his shelf in the background, right? I'm into my NFL, and it was straight away. It was,
So you were Googling, what does NFL stand for?
What are the rules in American football? No, but I happen to know about it, and I raised it because it's being observant, and yeah, as far as I've seen it, AI can't do that. But you proved that wrong about 40 minutes ago. So it's
You're welcome.
So there you go.
and that's the beauty of where it's headed, and the tech that's out there, and that's why I joke around saying if you haven't spoken to an AI avatar in the last 3 months, you haven't spoken to an AI avatar. But even then, most of the time people have, even if they're using great tech, right? And the reality is we're all using a lot of the same LLMs in the background, we're bringing them in, but how you put those together and then the structures you put in place, and not just the prompts. It's not about a bit of prompt engineering going, I found this on Facebook, I'll just chuck it in and it's amazing. But all these niche settings down to what that actual tech can do makes all the difference, right? And I've seen people use things like 11 Labs really well, and I've seen people use 11 Labs and it sounds like an absolute rubbish robot, right? And there are as you said, you can't polish a turd, and if you don't understand, for example, I saw someone create a VO3 video the other day, and they put it out there publicly saying, hey, it's cringeworthy, and it was, right? But when I watched it, having 20 years of video production experience and made films for Apple and Warner Brothers and the like, I know 1 or 2 things about production and direction and creative direction. And I watched it thinking, this is really fascinating, because they've got the tools now to make Hollywood level content, but they just don't have the knowledge on how to drive the machines. And so if I took, no offense, you, and put you in the middle of a Steven Spielberg shoot and said, okay, you're now the director, you've got all of this, it's all yours, go nuts. All the actors are there, all the cameras there. I guarantee you it's not going to come out the same as Steven Spielberg stuff. Right?
It would be close. But
it was so close, achingly close. And that's what's happening with VO3 and many other things in AI. If you don't understand the nuances of how sales works or how voice works or how human interaction works, you're not going to drive an AI to have a human interaction call and sell well. Simple.
It's bang on. It's bang on. What got any ugly experiences that you've seen or had it delivered in the past? What have you seen out there? I'm interested to know if you've ever, and I'm sure there has been. I'm not just talking about ugly in general. I'm talking about AI ugly.
Yeah,
in the past,
I've had some ugly experiences in life. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we don't want to go back to your late teens, Mike.
I think there's so many bad jokes I can make, but I'll stick to the topic. Okay, so AI fails. I should have prepared for one of these. So no, look, nothing brutal. Just to be honest, a lot of the same old sort of hey, I can tell a million miles away this is an AI message that you're sending through on LinkedIn or whatever it is. I was speaking to a guy on a podcast actually not so long ago, and in his LinkedIn profile, he has his name with a slash at the end of it. He's just put, and he said accidentally he put it in there like 2 decades ago when he started his LinkedIn thing. It just had a slash after it. And the amount of people sending him, hey, name slash, I've been following your stuff for so long and I'm such an admirer of how incredible you are, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you lost me at name slash, right? and they're the sorts of things that, how do you get around that if you're using an AI tool that just says name, it sucked in his name has a slash at the end, you lost. But it made me actually want to put a slash at the end of my LinkedIn name just so I can
A lot
call
of people
out
have done. I've seen people put not slashes but emojis in their LinkedIn names or whatever it might be, to try and catch out those those AI solutions.
Yeah.
Which then leads us back to you've got to be careful how you deliver your AI tech stack, right?
Yeah.
Because if you do roll out something like and I'll throw SalesLoft. We use SalesLoft. We love SalesLoft.
Yep.
They can send out big mass email cadences that pull in first names and business names and whatever it is. But similarly, if you've got an emoji in the name and it's pulling that in, it's going to send that emoji, right? So you've got to be.
It is, and I guess SalesLoft is great. Actually, meeting with them after this, you've got to decide then. Okay, is the risk versus the reward? Do I not send out 10,000 emails because one of them might have an emoji in and I'll look like an idiot, or do we just accept the fact that this is the world we live in? Of course, they're automated. Deal with it. Right. And I don't mind an automated email coming into my inbox as long as it's bloody relevant, right? Like, don't send me something that I'm not interested in or has no level of personalization and is just a blanket blah, right? Send me something that's really well curated for me, makes sense for me, and I'm interested in, then fine, you got an emoji at the end of my name, whatever, right? But, on the whole, I think a lot of people will find excuses not to move forward with AI. I think a lot of people talk the talk, and every conference is about AI. Everyone's mentioning, it's like, wow, we've learned how to spell AI now. That's good. When are we going to actually use it? And not just for writing emails on ChatGPT, like, great, but when are we actually going to use all of the other plethora of tools? And I find often we are a follower culture of, when I see it working really well in my competitors, I'll do it. So really, you want to wait till your competitors have done it before you do it? I think it's worth taking the risks, and same with AI voice and video avatars. Obviously, I'm a big believer in where it's headed. But even right now, with some of the issues and some of the, hey, it didn't say something right or it froze, it's better than sitting on hold. It's better than not getting the answers that you want and having to wait for 3 days' time. And with the example of sending out mass emails, well, it's better to have a curated, dialed in, hyper personalized email for 99% of your, listener base. Not listener base. What are we going for? Email addresses.
Yeah.
Rather than sending out a very broad brush, crappy email.
You handled that objection really, really well. It's almost like you've been in sales before, Mike.
Never. First rodeo.
Come on then, give us, and I know we've spoken about BuzzTrail. I want to hear about BuzzTrail, and I'm sure the listeners want to hear about BuzzTrail. Give us wrap us up with a little bit about it and how it works.
Yeah, right. Okay, so look, shameless plug. I've been in, as I said, SaaS sales forever. Led a team of 32 in my sales and marketing, my last company. Found the pain of what SDRs can and can't do, reporting, all of the things running a sales team. It's driven me up the wall, right? They've been great moments, but horrible moments. The reality is, everything from forecasting where things are going all the way through to just call the damn lead that came in. And 72% of SaaS leads, this isn't made up apparently, you can Google it yourself, even ChatGPT, 72% of inbound SaaS leads are never followed up. That's which crazy. Is mind-blowing. And every time I went to Windows Shop or Mystery Shop, my own company, I didn't get a call back. Every time. And they'd say, oh, well, you put it under some weird Gmail address. I was like, great. So what? Call them back, right? And a salesperson's going, well, why would I do that when I've got a lead here with Apple and I can run that one instead? So I got passionate about that space, really lent into the AI voice space for podcasts mostly, and then AI video. I've been around since my last business and seeing that evolve. When it got to the point that it was good enough, I started to go, okay, what could we use this for? And then conversational became good enough, and I went, okay, what can I build around that, right? And so BuzzTrail is all the extra build-ons to what you can do with voice avatar that makes it actually useful. And then in the near future, we're releasing the video avatar that you previewed this morning. So that space of being able to take inbound calls, follow up cold leads, and do any of the handing off to a salesperson, booking a time in their calendar, et cetera, taken care of. In the future, product demos as well. So whether that's a simple product demo for high volume of people hitting the website, and you've got a lower cost that you can't be putting reps on constantly doing demos, or the reps aren't available, or you want something instant, which I think is better anyway. That's where the video avatars come in, and then product walkthroughs as well. So technical help, how do I find this, et cetera, customer success stuff. And it's funny, the first initial reaction everyone has is, but hang on, the demo's our chance to sell, to connect and everything else. And I know I said people buy from people, and they do. But the AI avatars can triage that and go, this is a person that we need a person connecting with, and can actually do during the call, hey, Jack, this seems to be right up your alley and seems to be a good product market fit. Do you mind if I bring Tom in from our sales team? I'll just dial him in right now. That's pretty impressive stuff. And you go, yeah, you can dial him in? Absolutely. And then Tom appears on the call. Tom's a real person. Tom joins it, closes it. Like that's the dream run that I think is an absolute home run for SaaS companies. Yeah,
because you are filtering out. I mean, we're talking close rates here that are industry averages sat between 18 and 25%, right? And that's once you've got a qualified lead through that's been through a demo, whatever it may be.
And you spoke about it the other day about this. This 90% of this inbound is complete garbage. You're just sitting there getting frustrated with, I don't want to talk to another human that has no fit whatsoever with my product, right? So at least if the conversations you have as a high functioning salesperson, while you're in a great mindset, feeling great, energized, because every second conversation you've got is a perfect match.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to be more energized, and you're going to close more. And everyone's going to be happier, and you're going to be able to spend more money and earn more money.
You make more commission. Wife's happy, you're happy, everything's good.
Everyone's happy. Well, no, thanks for today. It's been superb, and I guess we'll wrap it up, seeing as though we're just say how long far we're into this, 40 odd minutes or so. So that's pretty good going. Any last words? Keep all day. Before we break up, which we're obviously doing on this call.
It was inevitable breakup, but no, for your listeners, obviously, love to connect. Find me on LinkedIn, Mike Pritchett, not ARDETT at the end. You'll find me in there somewhere, and love to chat. Always interested in talking to great, energized revenue go-to-market people.
Absolutely, yeah. Make sure you do, because Mike is he's a bit of a superstar when it comes to things like this, and helps me out, and we speak most days, really, don't we, Mike, on certain things. Very therapeutic. So it is. One of my first thoughts when I wake up, as you know.
Always a pleasure, Jack.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for coming on, and this has been another episode of Enablement Uncanned. Thank you, Mike.